David is known as a Jewish believer that walks in the glory of God. And I want to find out from him exactly what the glory of God is, how the glory of God operates, and how he learned this. I'm going to take you back to age 13, David, and you went to a youth camp, a Spirit-filled youth camp, now, were you prayed for to speak in supernatural languages, or did it just happen?
It just happened. I was supposed to be prayed for. I was waiting in a very long line of hundreds of people to make my way to the front where they pray for you. And before I got there, it already hit me. This warmth came on me, this love. I just felt peace, and I started crying a little bit. And then all of a sudden, I started speaking in tongues. I had no idea how that was going to happen. It just happened. And then I saw that vision of, I was taken up to heaven. I saw Jesus and the Father. And then a voice came and said, you're going to travel. You're going to travel. You're going to travel around the world. So I had a little inkling. I said, okay, so I'm going to travel. So that I know. And then went to my room, and I couldn't stop speaking in tongues all night and just getting these visions.
Just out of curiosity, I assume you didn't want to, but did you actually try to stop?
Not really. It felt so good. You know, you're 13 and you're feeling great.
But how's a 13-year-old pray in tongues all night? That had to be a highly unusual thing.
It was, but it was really, really powerful. Well, that night, a lot of people got the Holy Spirit. It was just amazing. Always wanted to receive it for 3 years since I was saved. Didn't know how or what. Finally went to a place where I could get it, and it was just, and my boldness changed. I used to be shy, and suddenly this boldness came on me that I'd never had before, with people, with everything. It affected everything.
Now, you literally were caught up into the throne room, and it was a number of years ago. But what did you see? I'd be very curious to know.
I saw, basically I saw two seats where I was. I saw Jesus at the right hand, and I saw the Father. I couldn't make out clearly because it was so bright with the Father, but I knew that was Jesus on the right side. And basically, they were smiling. Jesus was smiling at me, and a voice just came and said, you're going to travel for my glory. You're going to travel. And I was just worshiping, and I love you, God. I love you, Jesus. I worship you. And just tongues for hours.
Yeah, interesting. God knew what he was saying. You didn't have a clue. You're going to travel for his glory, and you're known as someone that when you speak, the glory of God shows up. But you didn't have a clue back then. Tell me the first miracle that happened when you prayed for someone that you can remember.
Yeah, I was in Sunday school, and they would ask me to teach this little curriculum in our Sunday school in our little town in Sedona. So I would go through the little thing and read the scriptures they told me to read for the kids. And I got bored. I actually got bored doing this every Sunday. So I said, kids, don't tell the pastor, but I'm going to try something different. I'm not going to follow the curriculum. I'm just going to pray for anyone that's sick. And a little girl said, oh, my mom said I have scoliosis. I said, well, let me see. Let's pull out your leg and see how short it is. Because I had seen one time before someone come and do this. And her leg was so much shorter than the other. I said, okay, we're going to pray, guys. Are you ready? And I missed my first miracle because I closed my eyes, and her leg began to grow so fast the kids were screaming, look at the leg, look at the leg. And her leg grew out, and I missed seeing my first miracle with my own eyes.
But what happened to her scoliosis?
It was gone. I mean, her leg grew out, and she didn't have a problem after that.
What a way to start. You know how I started? I prayed for hundreds, if not thousands of people, and no one got healed. I sure wish I had started the way you did.
I guess I needed the encouragement for being so young, you know.
Well, let's go back to basics. The glory shows up when you speak. Explain what the glory is.
The glory is the closest you can get to being like as if you went to heaven while still being on the earth. You're in a meeting, and you feel this incredible heavenly presence, joy, peace, love. You can feel the angels are there. You're just like, this is heaven on earth. And in that realm, that's when things happen so easily. I always say, on earth as it is in heaven. If you were sick and you went to heaven right now, how long would it take to be healed? It would be instant, because in heaven there's no sickness. So when heaven comes down on the earth in a meeting or just walking down the street and you pray for somebody, the speed at which miracles happen in the glory realm is much faster than they would happen just in regular gifting realm. You have your gift and anointing. You have faith, but when you add glory to that, glory is the accelerator. demons come out faster, bodies are healed faster. You sow, you reap faster. Everything's faster when it's done in the presence of God's glory.
Now, is this just a pure gift from God, or are there some things that you've learned that people can do to walk in that same glory realm?
Oh, no, a lot of people, everyone can do this. God gave me a revelation of how it operates, and when I've taught this to other people, I've had little kids doing it. One time I was in Ireland, miracle signs, wonders were flowing, and I taught these youth in college age, and everything I knew how to do it. And when that thing was over, they spread all over Ireland and started doing healings and miracles and signs, wonders, everything you can think of started happening.
When was the first time you're aware of the fact that when you would speak, this manifest, tangible presence, thickness, weightiness of God's presence would show up, His glory?
The first time that happened, wow, that's a tough one to think. Going back, I know that it changed when my intimacy with God changed. It wasn't just
All right, well, then that's important to know. Tell me when that was and what you did to cause it to change, or what occurred.
I was living on the mission field in France for 12 years, and we had seen, I had the gift of faith, I had a gift of healing, and I'd pray one-on-one, and I'd say, okay, right now this man will be healed. If he doesn't get healed, then God is not God, and God would heal. But I was getting burned out, and I said, Lord, there's got to be more.
I'm sorry. You're triggering another question. When you would make such a bold statement, were there times when people were not healed?
Amazingly enough, I would only do it when I felt led to do it, and when I did it, it always worked. But I would never do it carelessly if I didn't.
But even if you heard, did you have a degree of trepidation when you have a room full of people that could become a mob against you?
Oh, big time. Lord, I think every time I did it, I'd say, oh my gosh, I think I went out too far on a limb this time. Lord, you got to bail me out of this one. And but God would show up, but sometimes it would be really scary.
Okay. So you were telling me what was happening in France.
Yeah, so I was just desperate. I said, God, there's got to be more. I mean, we're winning people, but not at the rate that we need. I need to see more of your glory, more of your power. And so basically I took off some time, and I just began to fast and pray, and I just stopped preaching for a while, stopped ministering. And I said, Lord, if you don't touch me with something new, I'll come up there and get it. But I don't want to minister anymore. So I just stopped ministering. I just stopped taking I just locked myself in for a couple months. 3 weeks of those months I was fasting and praying, just seeking God. And during that time, worshiping and fasting and praying, and something came on me. And then sure enough, after that time, we had 6 weeks off. And the Lord told me those 6 weeks that you took off to seek my face led to the 6-month revival that you had in Paris, France, the longest running revival in 50 years.
Now, for those that aren't familiar, Paris, France is not known for being a real open spiritual place. In fact, it's known as a graveyard. What happened in Paris?
In Paris, France, I told the church to do like what I did. I said, okay, I'll come, but I want you to do a fasting and prayer chain, 40 days, because when you fast, something happens in the heavenlies. Like Daniel, the angel came and ministered. So I had him do that. I was praying, preparing myself. And then by the time we showed up, the heavens exploded so powerfully. People ran to the altars to be saved. Healings and miracles, signs, wonders flowed like honey. And a girl was picked up off the ground. Some would call it she levitated, but we'll use the Christian term, she arose, arise and shine. She was picked up off the ground in midair, about 13, I guess someone measured it. They said it was about 13 centimeters in the air, flipped over, still in the air, then came back down to the ground. And she was interceding for souls. She was an intercessor, kind of heavyweight girl too. And the people around were freaked out when they saw it. But it was at that moment that the glory came, and all of a sudden all these people that had suicidal spirits started screaming and getting delivered. So it was amazing. Girls being lifted up.
Yeah, you know what's coming to me as you're saying that, David? That's a foretaste of the Messiah says that when he returns, he'll return the same way he came. How did he, the same way he left? He left by going up in the air in a cloud. And I believe we're going to be seeing more and more people, even people flying in front of other people, not just dreams.
I have dreams of that all the time. I can't wait.
Well, it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. That's why you're having those dreams. But tell me the feedback on your revised book, Glory Invasion. What do people comment? Is there one particular chapter that people say, boy, that revolutionized my life?
Oh, wow. There's different chapters that they love. They love the first few chapters because what happens is I use vocabulary to explain how God's glory moves.
I have to tell you, when I read that, it didn't cause me to believe any more than I believe, but it did give me understanding of what I believe.
Yeah, it gives you revelation. For instance, if you're praying for, let's say, a body part to be recreated, and you don't know how to pray, normally you just say, oh, Lord, please do this. But when you have the revelation, you get in the glory, and you realize in the book I explained that everything created has atoms and protons and neutrons. Inside that, it's sound waves that God put sound into everything. This is confirmed by science. And those sound waves God put in Genesis, he put sound, and you command the body part, modes come together. Cancer, die. I know you can hear me because you're made of atoms, and inside the atoms there's sound, and I know you can hear me. So you're going straight to the chase, straight to the body part, like Moses spoke to the rock, or God told him to anyway. Ezekiel spoke to the bones, and they came together. Jesus spoke to wind and waves. But once you understand behind the scenes what's going on, it actually helps your faith to go, wait a second, I can speak to body parts and they can actually hear me.
David, we're out of time right now.